Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi
Nama saya
wabarakatuh.
Good night, my lecturer and fellow debater. Today I will be talking to you about why I agree about the motion. My policy is that we should follow the policy of Iran, which legalized the sale of human organs through government programs that set price and match donors with government monitors and regulates activity. The legalization of the sale of human organs increases supply and saves lives. It makes it more affordable and it's safer through regulation. The thesis of this point is that legalizing the sale of organs will increase supply and save people from organ failure.
Okay, PI.
Yes.
Okay. You said that we should follow Iran, which legalizes the sale of human organs through a government program. Is Iran successful by this program, and what proof of the success? Thank you.
Okay, in Iran's legal organ markets, the price of kidney ranges from $2,000 to $4,000. On the black market, however, the same can be $160,000. With the legalization of organs, there will both be higher supply of organ supply, going from 20,000 donors jumping maybe all the way to 80,000, which is the amount of organ recipients that are needed every year. There are many points in my case this point. The first, altruism, no answer. Altruism is acting to help someone else at some cost to oneself. Those in need of human organs cannot rely on altruism alone. There must also be a legal system to create the necessary supply. Moreover, people deserve to be fairly compensated or even rewarded for doing good by sacrificing their time. Therefore, creating legal and safe market for their buying and selling of human organs will compensate people fairly and more importantly allow people to receive saving train these transplants without restoring to public market. Second is accessible to everyone. Regulation of organ will give the poor much easier access to others they might need, whereas not they don't have any access to organ at all. Poor people receive just 6% of nation kidney transplants. This is because of the research that the rich have access to black market by being doctors and having first priority in the waiting.
PI.
Yes.
Okay. Well, you say the rich has access, but if there are very few kidneys and stuff like that in the market together, how do the rich have access to the black market, and how do they have so much access compared to poor? There is not much for anybody to be stated.
Okay. Many poor in disability countries don't even have access to the internet. Rich people, however, now have all sorts of connection they can provide them and back them up in troubling times.
So won't there be competition between the rich because they are so much or they are so less?
However, there is a much smaller population compared to the poor. The competition is much less profit making it really easy to survive. With the regulation of organ sale, the risk of dying from black market will be down to zero. Also upon a legalization of organ sale governments with advisors and people who provide information to donors sharing vital information and keeping them from being exploited, which again will have the power in accessing organs. And the last, crime and punishment. Countless organ records drive underground in developing countries like India. Hundreds of people, Indians, are dubbed to sell their organs for peanuts. At all times, they are even marketed by organ experts who feed black markets. Legalizing sale of organs will stop such crime and exploitation.
Okay. Good night, everyone. Especially my Hubblary judge, my Hubblary lecturer, and my fellow debater, Ita Rosita. Tonight, I'll be talking to you about why I against about the motion legalize of human organ sale. My policy is that we would not make the selling of organs legal. In this debate, I'll be talking about the following points. The first point is price tag, and the second is about most vulnerable members of our society will get exploitation. And the third is benefit only for the wealthy. Before that, let's define some key terms. Organ selling, it is a trade of human organ tissues or other body parts. So, usually for transplantation, transplant move, or transplant someone or something to another place or situation. In this case, with organising, there can some consequence after the producer. For example, with a kidney transplant, you might have severe blood, clots, and bleeding. Lastly, ethics, it is basically branch of philosophy that depends and recommends right from wrong. This situation, you are basically deciding whether it is right or wrong to harvest another person's organs. And yeah. Ulangi, repeat. Okay. It's right or wrong to harvest another person's organs. Yeah.
Don't you think that if the government legalizes the sale of organs, it will safeguard those who are less privileged, will be less victimized?
Okay. The first, I'm not agree with you because a lot of unprivileged people, number one is the situation that they live in with population and poverty in slums, in really hygienic and safe. And so the state of their bodies like weak and organs don't really function properly, and like by legalizing organ selling, people who don't really understand the process or don't have enough money to actually benefit from it won't really help them, and it will kind of victimize them. Okay, I'll continue about my arguments. Now, on to my case. The premise of this point is that the first is about price tag. If blood can be collected through voluntary donation, why no organs? We have to spread the awareness. There is where one can register and donate organs after death. Putting a price tag on the human body will invite exploitation by the unscrupulous, and people like me or other people won't be able to afford organs. The second, my argument is about legalizing the sale of human organs will exploit the most vulnerable members of our society. It is the poor. So, how will the poor be exploited? Let's take a walk through what is happening around the world. In underdeveloped countries with slums going at a rapid rate, the poor are struggling to survive because of their lack of money. Poor people in countries such as like Pakistan or India don't have fewer options when it is a matter of life and death for themselves and their children, of course. Therefore, these helpless people need money and food to survive life, and we will harvesting our organs for the extra income being described. In addition, for this argument is The situation could further victimize their support by destroying hope of earning money and surviving or ending up with life lasting. And then the third is benefit only for the wealthy. Since organ transplantation began, the supply has failed to meet the demand. Legalizing selling will not solve this problem. The
Right?
yeah.
Despite before that legalizing selling will not solve this problem, how about proof that Iran success? The population of Iran is 82.9 million. The population of America in comparison is around 3,000 million. This giant spark with America's population being over times over Iran in the explanation to why they have more organ plants. However, if you compare the organ transplants to the people who need it on the waiting list, you find that Iran has a much higher recipient percentage.
Okay, actually, I would like to disagree with that. So, if you do the statistic, it is pretty close and even debatably towards the US, but in comparison in Iran, with Legalize hasn't really helped it as much as it's not the states don't usually benefit in their favor, or they could be even seen as negative. It will benefit the wealthy, while the poor will not be able to obtain the organs since it most likely that the bidding system will start. The poor will exploit it forced to sell their organs. It might bring the money, but they will end up risking their own health. So, what is the problem with this? The problem with this is the organ can be really dangerous, especially for the less fortunate because they live in unhygienic places that have a lot of pollution and it's not sanitary. Therefore, they can be complications to do with the organs and how safe is for their body. Okay, thank you. It is about my argument.
Okay, the conclusion of affirmative team with the legalization of organ sale, the risk of dying from black market or organ transplant will be down to zero. The black market will be completely regulated and price will be completely accessible compared to the absurd price before. Also, upon legalization of organ sale, governments with advisors and people who provide information to donor sharing vital information and keeping them from being exploited, which again will have to pour in accessory organs. With the legalization of organs, there will both be a higher supply of organ supply going from 20 donors jumping maybe all the way to which is the amount of organ reception. Delegation of ordinance will also last the multiple race, bettering the health of country, and that's why I believe that the sale of organs should be legalized. Okay, thank you very much for your attention. I'm so sorry. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm from opposition team. I'd like to share a conclusion about my team. Okay. The conclusion about why I against the motion is legalize of human organ sale. I'd like to share about my argument. The first is price tag on human body will invite exploitation. Putting a price tag on the human body will inflict exploitation by the unscrupulous, and people like me won't be able to afford organs. The second, the most vulnerable members of our society, who is the poor, will get exploitation too. So how will the poor be exploited? Let's take a walk through what is happening around the world. Let us face the harsh reality in India. Poverty is a disease that can never be eradicated. So people will quickly opt to sell organs to fill their stomach. And then the third, benefit only for the wealthy. Since organ transplantation began, donation has saved many lives, but the supply has also failed to meet demand. Legalizing selling will not solve this problem. Legalizing will also lead to further social division. The poor will sell their organs more because of their need for money, but will not be able to buy organs if they need. It will act like a double-edged sword. They could benefit if someone donated the required organ. In conclusion, the less privileged around the world don't have many choices and opportunities for some money or food. We don't want to legalize and normalize this kind of unethical practice. People in this day and age should not be turning other human beings into spare parts for the rich. If you want to live in a world that upholds the dignity of all people, vote for me. Sign opposition. Okay, that's why I believe that the sale of organ shouldn't be legalized, and I against the motion. Thank you. It is enough for opposition time. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.